Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Broncos Postgame Show. I'm Phil Milani alongside Eric Dalala. Sidney Jones will be along in just a little bit, but a frustrating day here at Empower Field at Mile High. The final score, 43-16. Eric, if this was a measuring stick game, the Broncos didn't measure up very well.
No, Phil, and it's tough because they did do some things well. They held the Chiefs to 0 of 8 on third down. Patrick Mahomes, they struggled to find the end zone with him on the field, but they just made too many mistakes. They turned the ball over 4 times on offense. They gave up a kick return for a touchdown. Drew Lock threw a pick 6. You talk about 2 other times turning the ball over on downs. It was just too much to overcome, and without those mistakes, this is a close game likely into the fourth quarter. But with them, the Broncos just fell behind early and couldn't recover.
Yeah, the Broncos defense actually did a great job. Gave up a opening drive touchdown, but after that played pretty well, held Patrick Mahomes in check. The Broncos did a lot of good things on that side of the ball, but like you said, the offensive side of the ball had a lot of struggles.
Yeah, and Drew Lock, I think, he'll probably point to this as one of his tougher games as a pro. Just 24 of 40, 2 picks, 57 quarterback rating. This is arguably his worst game of his young career. Just overshot a lot of players when he's trying to throw these routes, and he just didn't look comfortable for the most part. Was sacked several times, and for whatever the reason is, he's got to figure that out quickly because the Broncos at 2-4 now, Phil, don't have a lot of room for error.
Yeah, and even one time he got out of the pocket, he tried to slide. It looked like maybe his knee brace got caught in the grass a little bit. It was a little bit of a scare. Maybe thought that he had a lower body injury there. Thankfully, he was able to come back in the game. They just had to remove the brace. But I agree with you. A tough day for Drew Lock. We saw Philip Lindsay leave this game with a concussion. The Broncos' ground game was doing pretty well until he left.
Yeah, Phil, I think Philip Lindsay was maybe the bright spot of the game. 9 carries for 79 yards, kept breaking off chunk plays. Unfortunately, Melvin Gordon didn't have quite the same amount of success. He fumbled the ball. Then on a flea flicker where he tried to toss it back to Drew Lock, that went over Lock's head early in the third quarter. And, Phil, to me, that's where the game kind of ended. Any chance the Broncos had after coming out of the locker room, stopping the Chiefs, holding them to a 3-and-out, and then having a chance to cut it to a 1-score game, that ended, unfortunately, on that poorly attempted flea flicker.
Yeah, the defending champions are good enough, not let alone if you give them 14 points there on a special teams play, a pick 6, then you really are fighting an uphill battle. And the Broncos found out the hard way here today. Normally we would show highlights, but in this case, let's just go straight to an interview here with Sidney Jones.
All right, we're checking in with Justin Simmons after the Broncos' 43-16 loss to the Chiefs. Obviously, Justin, not the outcome you all wanted. What's going through your head right now? What are you guys feeling in the locker room?
Anger, disappointment, frustrated. It's tough. We obviously had a chance in the beginning. We were playing really well, and then we just kind of let it get away from us. And so you got to go back, watch the film, and then you just got to be able to fix the mistakes that you had and get ready for next week. It's really all you could do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, the score didn't really reflect how well Denver's defense played today, and you guys have been playing incredibly well over the past couple games. How would you grade y'all's performance tonight?
We did okay. We obviously didn't do enough to get a win. And so we had a takeaway early, and it would have been nice if we got a couple more, give our offense a shorter field to move the ball. That's really what we needed to do. We saw early we got a takeaway, put them on a short field, and they were able to move the ball and score. And so those are the things that, great defenses find ways to do. And that's just the thing that we were missing today. And so we could do a way better job at that. Obviously, some little things here and there that we can fix, and those will be fixed. But that's the biggest thing for us, getting more takeaways to help on the shorter field.
Yeah, you mentioned those little things you guys can work on heading into next week. But what positives did you see from this game that you want to build upon heading into the Chargers matchup next Sunday?
Yeah, we did in terms of, the Chiefs have a great passing game, and Mahomes is obviously one of the best at, doing what he does back there, extending plays, throwing the deep ball. And I feel like we did a great job keeping the big plays off of our defense today. And that's all 11 of them. Now up front, getting after them, the linebackers and secondary communicating, making sure we're, doing the things that we need to do in the back end. And so I thought those things were, we did pretty good against. And then, like I said, there are a few things that, you want back, but all in all, I thought we did a good job keeping the big plays off of us. But, we'll be able to fix those little things, and, we'll be ready to go for next week.
All right, last one for you, Justin. How do you guys turn the page mentally after this tough loss?
You just have to. The same way, last week you had a big win in Foxborough. You just got to be able to turn the next page and get ready for, the Chiefs. And same thing, it's a loss. It's a bad loss, but you got to be able to watch the film, take it with a grain of salt, fix your mistakes, and get ready to go for next week. That's what the NFL is. You can't harp on the wins, for too long when you get them, and you can't harp on the losses for too long when you get them. And so we just got to focus up, get ready for next week, and fix some mistakes.
All right, Justin, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Eric, where do the Broncos go from here? 10 consecutive losses to the Chiefs. Feels like they're sort of in their head a little bit at this point.
Yeah, and this one's tough, Phil, like we talked about, just because you played about as well as you can expect against Patrick Mahomes, and, they still score 43 points and they beat you by 27 in this 10-game losing streak. This is the Chiefs' biggest margin of victory. So if anything, it feels like the Broncos are getting farther away, which is just tough to stomach. But if you're Denver, you have to move the page quickly. You're 2-4. You've got the Chargers coming here this weekend, and then you go on the road to Atlanta. They have to find a way to stack a couple of wins here and get closer to 500 if they want to have any chance later in the season to make a rematch against the Chiefs worth anything. With the way the AFC wildcard picture is bunched up, this one loss does not disqualify the Broncos from being in the hunt. Wins against the Jets and the Patriots made sure of that. But, Phil, really no margin for error now when the Chargers come to town next week.
Yeah, the Broncos 2-4 now, looking to turn the page quickly here and get set for another divisional opponent. That's going to do it for us. For Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala, I'm Phil Milani. The Broncos fall 43-16 to the Kansas City Chiefs.